Season 6 made Blood Surge better than ever, and that's because of a buffed affix on weapons, focus, and rings. That solves one of Blood Surge's major issue, and that's infinite essence while maintaining a very high skill cost. Why would you want to maintain a very high skill cost? Because overpower builds use the Banished Lord's Talisman that says after 275 resource used, you do a guaranteed overpower critical strike. Now if your skill costs 10, that's quite a lot of blood surges you have to do until you get a free overpower. But if your blood surge now costs 36, you're suddenly getting a bonus overpower every 8 blood surges, and you're already overpowering every 6 blood surges plus the one you're getting from your key passive. The usual thing with blood surge you would do is slap on a ring of starless skies, reduce the cost to 10, and then boom, you just got permanent blood surges going on. But that pushes the Banished Lord's Talisman all the way out of the way. What we are doing instead is we're still using the Ring of Starless Skies, but at the same time the Crown of Lucian. That means we increase the cost of our blood surge and then we decrease it. That brings us exactly at this 36 cost point. And the way how we maintain resource now is with a simple affix called Lucky Hit up to a 15% chance to restore 60% primary resource. 15% doesn't sound like a lot, especially if your blood surge only has a lucky hit chance of 20%. That makes this a quite low chance, but with all the enemies you're hitting at the same time, with the bonus sucks against bosses on the Cruel's Embrace with a blood surge drains 6 bonus times, and with you having it on your weapon, focus, and on your ring, you have 3 instances of this happening, because the way how multiple instances of the same affix works is they don't add up. So it's not a 15 and a 15% chance, that makes it a 30% chance. No, whenever I blood surge, it kind of checks, does this one work? No, cross out. Then, does this one work? Cross out. Does the third one work? No as well? Okay, fine. And then on the next blood surge, he checks all 3 again. So it's every time 3 times the same chance, which kind of on all the bonus sucks you're doing around the world just makes you go infinite resource, and that without the Soul Rift, because Soul Rift on top just boosts the whole progress, giving you permanent vulnerable, allowing you to truly just blood surge around. And if you should ever hit a bump in the road where you kind of went down to 0 resource and not a single lucky hit procced, you can just tap your basic skill once or twice, which happens in 0.25 seconds due to your 200% attack speed. And yes, I'll explain how you can get more than 100% attack speed. Suddenly you're full of resource again, and it keeps on going and going. Truly an interesting new tech that makes blood surge cooler than ever. And just as a slight heads up, in the future, this tech will also be used on Blood Lance, because Blood Lance has 80% lucky hit chance compared to the 20 of Surge. Now let me walk you through the build, and we're going to have a version with the Mythic, and we're going to have a version without the Mythic for people that are still working up to it, but already want infinite resource. For basic skill to tap, we're taking Hemorrhage over Reap. Reap would technically give us the chance to get some attack speed, but the advantage of Hemorrhage is that it's ranged and can be used against anyone, anywhere, wherever they're standing, even over walls. Then we're making bonus corpses, and we get the imperfectly balanced to increase the essence slightly further. We have 22 points in blood surge, 22, and that's not even the max. And then every 6 blood surge is going to be an overpower. Yes, there's 1 point in Blight with Enhanced Blight and Supernatural Blight. Against bosses, you can throw this, which adds actually bonus lucky hit chance of 66% to trigger the resource regeneration. But not only that, this Blight gives you simply 20% more damage against bosses. It's too easy to not take. Then we're moving down to Necrotic Fortitude, which actually is our main source of Barrier. We don't even need Soul Rift for Barrier. That one is more than enough. With the Titan's Fall on Fortify bonus damage, Spiked Armor bonus armor. Then we're consuming corpses for essence, and that's what we're doing with the Cruel's Embrace, our unique gloves, and the Fueled by Death bonus damage. We're getting a little bit bonus lucky hit chance with the bonus damage versus close and damage reduction from close. Curse damage with the Decrepify and the cooldown reduction for our ultimate, but we have runes for that as well. Now 9 points into Tides of Blood for 90% bonus damage. Yes, it's 45% doubled while you're healthy. Then this is our source of fortify, drain vitality, lucky hit to essentially fortify. And at the bottom, we're getting the damage reduction together with the memento mori into our inspiring leader, together with the soul rift into prime soul rift for the vulnerable source. And no, we're not going to be playing corpse trundles into plighted corpse trundles for blood orbs because we don't have corpses to do this as our blood surge consumes them. And lastly, the Rathamus Vigor. Now we just need blood orbs that Rathamus Vigor triggers more often than not. Book of the Dead, and pay close attention here. Skeletal warriors are sacrificed for crit right now, and that's 15% bonus crit. If you suck on resistances, you're going to first sacrifice them for resistances because that's 38% and it's actually even more than that. So a huge amount of resistance just with this. You're almost Torment 4 ready just by sacrificing. Skeleton mages are going out for overpower and the golem is going out for critical strike. And yes, we're using bonus sacrifice since our new tech allows us for one more aspect. Usually your amulet would actually play the sacrifice bonuses by 50% increased. But that doesn't work since we're playing the Banished Lord's Talisman. And then on your ring, you would play the Starlight aspect, but the Starlight aspect is not working anymore. And with the new tech of lucky hit up to a 15% chance to restore resource, we don't need this aspect because exposed flesh is, for example, worse. A 10% chance for 42 essence hitting a vulnerable enemy. I get 15% already, and it doesn't even need to be vulnerable. Now, our amulet is the Banished Lord's Talisman, and I would like to have a greater affix and maximum life. What's really important is the 60%. You need that 60%. That is what we're really looking for. And that gets paired together with the Crown of Lucian, increasing our resource cost by 150. Keep in mind that the Ring of Starless Skies removes the resource cost by 50, then this increases by 50. So it's first the make smaller, then the boost up again. Now, here might be a problem every now and then because Crown of Lucian lasts for 4 seconds, Ring of Starless Skies lasts for 3 seconds. So if you're walking in between of mobs and the Ring of Starless Skies just runs out while your Crown of Lucian is just going on, then you might end up actually with your skill costing 70 per cast and you have to wait that 1 extra second. But you might see in the gameplay that that doesn't really happen, especially with well-populated pits, Inferno Hordes, Hell Tides. Yeah, there's barely a piece of content where this is actually of relevancy. I just felt like I should mention it. Our first ring is now the sacrificial ring that has sacrificial on it, crit chance, intelligence, and I'm playing resource cost reduction. That 12% resource cost reduction is needed to bring us to this 36 resource. I tried to play this with 41 resource. I tried to play it with 43 resource. It was clunky. So I had to go down to this 36, 35 resource around with everything multiplying and backing back up. And for this, the resource cost reduction was crucial. Currently, the ring is playing resource generation, but there is the temper that does the same lucky hit as our focus does here that you can take instead. Works as well. And then you need blood attack speed. And the blood attack speed pushes you to 200% attack speed. We'll get to the attack speed at the end of the gear, so don't miss out on it. Our focus is playing the bonus overpower attack speed. So whenever a blood skill overpowers, we get another 50%. Then chance for blood surge to deal double damage, and that's what you want to masterwork. With more blood attack speed, the lucky hit chance to primary resource, crit chance, and maximum life. Amazing. Now we're playing a sword. A mace would be better. I only had a sword with maximum life, intelligence over damage preferred, up to a 15% chance to restore resource, then blood attack speed, and chance for blood surge to deal double damage, plus the blood surge super echo nova that if you do a billion blood surge, you straight up add one afterwards that does equivalent damage. Our boots need to have armor. That's mandatory. No question about armor. It would be good if they had essence per second. I don't have essence per second. I have movement speed instead, which makes me move around faster. Then we need blood surge nova size and the decrepify aura, because we don't really want to cast our curse. Pants are unquestionable the Blood Moon breaches because it's 150% damage multiplier and there's no talking about it. You really want this. And at the point we're currently playing, cast the same non-channeled skill 3 times in a row and then reduce your active ultimate cooldown by 2 seconds. This one is needed against bosses that we can push the Soul Rift cooldown lower to always have Soul Rift on bosses. Technically, you don't need Soul Rift, but every now and then without it, you might hit a bump in the road with your resource not being full up, having to tap your basic skill, then continuing with it. do duly prefer to actually have just that little bit bonus cooldown reduction. And the gloves are our masterpiece. It's the Crew's Embrace. If you get these gloves, the number one thing greater affix you want is Blood Surge drain times. You don't want Blood Surge, Tides of Blood, or Maximum Life. Nah, you just want the Blood Surge drain times increase as a greater affix, and you want to masterwork it 2 times. I have Tides of Blood masterwork 2 times. It also doesn't matter if the damage itself is low of the mini novas, because that damage is neglectable. You need the bonus drains for the maximum damage on Blood Surge on single targets. Now, our chest pieces having armor, int, and resistance to all elements. If the int would be essence per second, that would be better. You need to temper total armor, and you need to temper soul rift duration. Then, consuming corpses has a chance to spawn blood orbs. These blood orbs that were spawning, you're stutter stepping over to increase your damage continuously, because the blood begets board is broken. We'll get to that. Now, how do we get to 200% attack speed? Because we're already at 50.9%, and technically with this overpower, we're already at 100%, but that's wrong. There is permanent attack speed bonuses. That's what you see here. Everything that comes from your Paragon board, from your ring, from your other ring, from your amulet, and so on. And then there's temporary attack speed bonuses, and they go into an attack speed cap 2. So this 50% bonus, that does not get added up to this. So it's 50% plus this 50%, but on top an attack speed cap 2. And then this blood attack speed is also temporary because it's a tempering, and therefore the blood attack speed is being added to our 50% here, and that blood attack speed on this one too. So we're having 80% attack speed on top of our 50% right now. If I now had attack speed on my ring, that attack speed would go into this attack speed cap. For example, the attack speed from Variana, that would also go into the secondary one. But my secondary one is already at 80% plus. So getting the bonus attack speed from Variana is actually useless. And that's where we settled on Subo with the bonus movement speed and also our bonus critical strike damage. Yep, works quite fine. Technically though, Variana can still be used because her basic ability here gives you more movement speed and it's truly worth it. And as a reinforcement, we're using Rahir with shield shard every 11 seconds, just giving us bonus fortify that we technically don't need, but why wouldn't we have it? Now to the Paragon board, and one very important thing, damage reduction. Yes, the blood boards and especially the bloodbath board finally has damage reduction. 5%, 2.5, 2.5, so that's 12.5 already. And then we're having another 12%, 3, 3, and 3. 21 and 12.5% damage reduction on top. First glyph we're playing is Essence for the bonus critical strike damage. Then all the max life nodes being taken. You're going to move first into the Bloodbath board, and then you're going to straight up move into the Blood Begets board, and you're just trying to get the legendary nodes if you're going with minimal points. Same goes for Flesh Eater and also Frailty. That's where you would invest your first 100 points into. Truly important is to max out all the life nodes. This one, I need some more intelligence. And then we're also playing the Corporal Glyph to actually boost the overpower damage here and the damage while fortified. Quite meaningful. And in the Blood Begets board, we got max life, max life, max life. Then you have max life. You have maximum life again. And we can put in our Overpower Dominate Glyph to get a lot of value out of all the willpower nodes. Plus Blood Begets for picking up blood orbs, 50% bonus damage. In the Frailty board, we get the bonus attack speed, which is amazing. You get bonus maximum life and some shadow resistance and all resistance. Most important, you can put in the Eliminator glyph, and there's so much int around here, truly worth it to then get your int to escalate out of the ordinary, that you can then get the Thick Hide bonus, for example. Lastly, we're playing Flesh Eater, as Flesh Eater is consuming the corpses with Crew's Embrace. You don't actually have to consume corpses. We get another 8% max life, which is a huge bonus. And we're taking the Amplify glyph to boost our damage even further. Quite nice. Don't take this one because we don't need corpse attack speed or damage to injured enemies. And there would be even another max life node that I so far haven't had the time to go into. Check the link in the description below for an even improved Paragon board that has slightly better passing. Now I promised you an alternative version that is not running the Mythic. And the whole trick when you're not running the Mythic is that you do actually have 2 rings. And I would take 2 rings with resource cost reduction. Still go for your weapons with the actual chance to restore primary resource, as this is just a nice tech to go for. But also don't play the Crown of Lucian. because in this case, Crown of Lucian is just impossible. It makes it too expensive no matter how much resource cost reduction you would run on your rings. And the whole trick in this case is that with Soul Rift, you would create enough resource on standard resource cost reduction on your rings with the lucky hits to then have enough globe left to actually lucky hit. Because if this only costs 12, 15, or 10, then you can make 5, 6, or 7 blood surges before your orb is empty. And in 5, 7, or 6 blood surges, you definitely get 1 lucky hit proc. If I'm doing it right now and it costs 36, I can do 2, then my globe is empty. Now I'm lucky though. Now you're in good luck because there's a rune that can help you, and that is the Lum rune. Lum sets requires 5 offering and then restore 1 primary resource. I'm currently using it together with the Puck rune for spending 5% of my max resource. Now I spend more. I spend 36 resource. That's 36% of my resource. So that works cool with the Puck into the Lum. Alternative, you can just cast a non-channeled core skill and then trigger the Lum on every single cast of your non-channeled core skill to regain resource on top of Soul Rift that you're infinite resourced. Super efficient. Ladies and gentlemen, are you going to give Blood Surge a try, or have you already done that? And yes, if you have the Heir of Perdition mythical helmet, you could technically drop Lucian, but then Banished Lord wouldn't work. And I think this version is just truly amazing. And before you ask, Doombringer is an option as well. And we will bring this over into a Bloodlands tack on top of this in the next days, week, to see if we can make a Banished Lords one with actual Bloodlands work as well. Now, if you're rather interested in the Minion Necro, because Minion Necro is frankly spoken incredible as well, check that out. Have a fantastic good day and take care.